Greetings, my friends. Thank you for watching this video, and if you would be so kind, please subscribe if you like what you see. Help our channel to keep growing and keep fighting the war to save pop culture. Together, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. Enjoy, and thanks.
Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and I have decided today to bite the bullet and review the first episode of the worst series in the history of television, Star Trek Discovery, or as I call it, STD. Since it is, after all, every bit as harmful and infectious as the clap, I hope you'll watch this for laughs, just to realize how lucky you are not to be watching this garbage live, and I hope that this will remind everyone out there of how Kurtzman has killed Star Trek and that everyone should avoid Paramount Plus like the plague, because ViacomCBS has spit in our faces with the most vile contempt imaginable over and over again, spitting and laughing, and without respect, we reject. I can tell you that at this point, the rest of the world is finally caught up with the fans. They know that Star Trek Discovery is a loser. Netflix bailed on Star Trek Discovery. They want nothing to do with it. Star Trek Discovery is so profitable they've actually had to flee to Pluto TV, a free app, because no one else wanted it. It used to be behind a paywall, but no one would pay. So now they're just throwing it up for free on Pluto TV just to get a little bit of ad revenue from it. And ViacomCBS stock is plummeting, plunging down, down, down like Captain Nemo going down for the last time. Look at this mess. I was told from several sources that the FTC only allowed the merger of Viacom and CBS so long as they maintained profitability. And now that the stock is plunged so low, I hear the FTC may step in and undo the merger, but then again, I'm no stock expert.
You don't have to be a stock expert, dude, to see this trend line. I mean, there's up, and there's down, and this crap is way, way down.
That's true, Harvey. I told them 4 years ago they were on the giddy road to ruin, allowing their best damn IP to be vandalized, sodomized, and scandalized by Alex Kurtzman and his merry band of utter hacks, but they didn't listen. Now the Star Trek brand is ruined, the fans are scattered, the stock is in the toilet, and ViacomCBS may be broken up for failing to maintain profitability, or so my sources claim. I have no idea personally. But regardless, it doesn't make any difference now. The damage is done, and like Kurtzman ended the Dark Universe reboot of the Universal Monster movies with his laughably awful Mummy movie, so too has Kurtzman laid waste to Star Trek. It will never be the same again. Let's look at the broken pieces of Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 1. Instantly, the very first image of the 4th season of STD just makes me start laughing when we see the starship disgracery jump into the shot, and the warp nacelles are just floating there, detached from the larger ship. Now, just like with ritual satanic abuse or a UFO abduction that turns into an orgy of probing, and you're the queen of the ball, I tend to let the trauma of past seasons fade from my memory. So I let myself forget that last season the show started detaching the warp engines, because that's Kurtzman's idea of a wild future concept, an idiotic notion that really could have no conceivable advantage to just having the structural integrity of the ship remain intact. I mean, why detach the warp engines? Where are they going to go? In the event of an emergency, do they run away? Fly up the captain's wooden ass? Get used as a giant pair of chopsticks by Apollo's green space hand? It's never explained, but that said, it's just so perfectly STD in a nutshell, isn't it? Used to be, Roddenberry and his team would design ships, equipment, plots around ideas that made sense. They really strove for intelligence and realism within the framework of the show, grounding their technology in logic. But Kurtzman and his crew of crappy comedians whose most successful joke to date is that they call themselves writers, they just do random shit just to be different without any reason beyond that whatsoever. There is no advantage to having the warp nacelles floating in space detached from the ship. Of course, it makes it pretty much impossible to sell any toys of this ridiculous ship, but That's not really a problem since no one buys STD toys anyway. Virtually no licensees will even try to make STD toys. Netflix finally decided they were done with screwing around with ViacomCBS and their Junior Mint Trek. Fans have abandoned the show in massive droves, leaving it the absolute worst-rated show on the CBS network in 2020. When they aired STD Season 1 to a captive audience of people who were stuck at home due to COVID with nothing to do. And doing nothing was preferable to watching the ugly stupidity of this dark moronic exercise in cultural vandalism. Yep, the first shot of Season 4 perfectly symbolizes Kurtzman Trek, a ship with its engines broken off, going nowhere. So yeah, the show opens up with Mikey Spock braying in her harsh, grating voice at what looks like a bunch of ice zombie rejects from Game of Thrones, saying she's come from the Federation to reconnect with their ice zombie civilization to share resources and technology in the future. But since STD has run over a budget so many times, CBS basically told them they had to make the show with whatever spare change they could find in Les Moonves' old office couch. These ice zombie guys have no technology to speak of that I can observe. They're standing around in the fucking woods, because that's all STD can afford now. Exteriors of woods. And Mikey Spock is braying at them across a chasm in the dark, so presumably, from what we can see, if the Federation came all this way to share these guys' resources and technology, the Federation must be badly in need of twigs, rocks, and the hostile stare of ice zombies from Game of Thrones. Winter is coming, they used to say, but in this case, winter is dumbing, folks, and so is this show. So in 5 minutes and 20 seconds, this show goes from bad to positively shockingly absurd. So the ice zombies basically pick a fight with Mikey Spock. They don't like the Federation, don't like her, don't like her boyfriend Book. Hey, I'm liking these ice zombie guys more and more every minute. So apparently these guys do have technology of a kind. They have butterfly technology.
Wait a minute. What the fuck is butterfly technology?
Well, shit, I don't know, Harvey. It's dumb as a bag of brain-damaged hammers, but I'll try to describe it. So the ice zombies get all pissed off for no reason at all. Suddenly, all these glowing butterflies start swirling around them, and get this, gang. The glowing butterflies start landing on the ice zombies and forming giant butterfly wings on the backs of these ice zombies out of their own bodies. So now these dumb shits have these silly glowing butterfly wings on their backs that wouldn't lift a bag of shit off the ground, much less a full-grown alien, and they're ready to fly up to Discovery on these thin butterfly wings, you know, in the vacuum of space where flapping butterfly wings would be useless since, you know, there's no air in space. And Mikey Spock and her boyfriend Book decide to run away. So they run through the forest as the butterfly ice zombies fly after them going pew pew with blasters. And of course missing entirely over and over again because Mikey Spock is the bestest ever. And it wouldn't do to kill her or Book. Her plot armor is absolutely invincible, almost as dense as the riders of this submaronic crap. Why don't they just beam out of there? Why don't they have an honor guard of red shirts in case this kind of thing happens and their captain's at risk? None of this is explained. Mikey Spock does, however, call the ship just to engage in some dialogue that's supposed to be witty and funny, but is simply desperate and pathetic. Then Stamens, the engineer, makes a joke about sounds like they're all on Romulan whiskey, which is a joke within a joke since it's actually Romulan ale, not whiskey, you idiots. But Kurtzman and his collection of catastrophic clods can't even get that detail right. So once again, the joke is on them. Mikey Spock notices the ice zombie butterflies are flying too erratically to accurately shoot them. So Mikey Spock calls the ship and asks them to fix the ice zombie butterfly satellite array that helps them to fly accurately, to send a message to the ice zombies that the Federation is their friend, and to help the ice zombie butterflies shoot them.
Help the ice zombie butterfly shoot them.
That's right. They want to help them get shot. So it all gets fixed. Mikey Spock smiles throughout the whole thing like a sappy idiot because the memo went out. Mikey Spock is a grim piece of shit with zero charisma, so now they're making her grin like an idiot with a popsicle up her ass at every opportunity to hit the likability demographic but it just makes her look like she has a popsicle up her ass. Welcome to Season 4 of STD, folks. Meet the new shit, same as the old shit.
Dude, you know this is gonna suck. Every single moment, every beat, every line of everything Kurtzman has done on Star Trek has reeked to high heaven of desperation, failure, and brain damage. Why are you even watching this?
Because you danced with Who Brung You, Harvey. I wouldn't have even made my YouTube channel without Alex Kurtzman fucking Star Trek up so badly. It actually made me furious to the point where I had to speak out. So, good job, Alex! You're responsible for my channel. Your consistent sucking has killed this franchise and almost certainly helped to drop ViacomCBS's stock to default levels, killing fan enthusiasm for all time. Bravo! Kurtzman has trashed this franchise so badly that even reviews at this point hardly get any views, because literally no one gives a shit about this insipid travesty. But I cover it regardless to document its decline and self-destruction. So let's see. There's a scene with Saru talking to his people on his home world about a bunch of shit not worth remembering. Just empty jabbering with nothing to do with the plot.
Well, to be fair, how could it have anything to do with the plot when there is no plot so far? Just a bunch of strung together scenes pretending to have character development.
Well, to be fair, how can you have character development without any characters?
Touché, Doomcock. Touché.
Yeah, in this pointless scene with Saru, it's clear that Kurtzman can't even keep his own bullshit canon straight. Saru and his people were established early on as non-technological primitives enslaved by a higher civilization, but now Kurtzman seems to have forgotten all about that. Saru's people are no longer enslaved, and they have technology. In fact, they're in some kind of, looks like underwater high-tech building, which makes zero sense, since how would these primitives have built that? But never mind. You can't look for anything resembling intelligence or entertainment on such a shitty show as this. So yeah, Saru lectures them all with a hologram, even as torches burn around them within the high-tech structure. God almighty, watching this is painful for anyone with intact brain cells.
Yeah, they can make hologram projectors, but they can't make light bulbs. And what a great idea to have torches burning up the air in an underwater structure.
It certainly looked underwater, but God knows, who knows, these people. STD is a disease of the mind. So yeah, back on Disgracery, we see Mikey Spock jabbering inane and irrelevant dialogue at her boyfriend Book, smiling away like someone glued her cheeks in the upright position. And for some completely illogical reason, a giant Tribble speeds down the corridor like one of the little Hall droids on the Death Star in Star Wars. Never mind, the Tribbles move at a top speed of like a mile a week. It's like the people who make this show hate it and hate fans so much they don't even try. And Mikey Spock? Fuck me, last season Mikey Spock was crying like an emotional basket case in every scene because fans thought she was cold. So Kurtzman wanted to show how emotional she was. Now, because fans complained that Mikey Spock was too stiff and devoid of personality and crying every fucking scene, Kurtzman is making her smile hugely in every single scene. You see, Kurtzman and his bunch of hacks have no convictions of their own. They have no vision for the show, they don't care about it, they don't like Star Trek, have contempt for fans, it's just a paycheck for them, they have no commitment or artistry or respect for the work they do, so they're just basically playing catch up with their own deficiencies. Mikey Spock too cold? We won't write her better, we'll just make her cry constantly. Mikey Spock too much of a crybaby? Okay, we won't write her better, we'll just tell her to smile all the fucking time. This is what happens when you get hack writers with scant talent who are just collecting paychecks, hate their jobs, and just want to crank shit out and then go to Hollywood parties. STD is the product of indifference and stupidity, and no one who has any self-respect would watch such a shoddy slapdash piece of shit.
Unless they have to review it for YouTube.
Exactly. So Book leaves the ship to visit his home world, and Mikey Spock smiles as he goes. Then Mikey Spock smiles as she addresses a new class of Starfleet cadets because now they've started up the academy again. And she smiles as she introduces the new Federation president. And of course, it's a woman. There aren't a lot of men on the show and almost no men on the bridge. It's mostly women and minorities. And the president praises Discovery and Mikey Spock and the crew for being the bestest ever. Then the festivities get interrupted when the station receives a distress call from a deep space outpost saying they've lost gravity and are spinning out of control and need help. Mikey, Spock, and the Despisery are dispatched to rescue them, and the president invites herself along for the ride.
What's really embarrassing about this episode is how saccharine it all is. Everyone is forcing smiles at forced humor and forced dialogue that isn't remotely funny or interesting. It's like the first episode is the final 5 scenes of Return of the King, you know? All the celebration without the achievement.
Yeah, this thing is awful. They're so desperate to appear to be warm and jovial, but all the smiles are so forced, they start to resemble grimaces. You imagine the director off camera pointing some kind of taser at the actors, saying, "Smile harder, smile faster, or it gets the blast. We're having fun if it kills us, damn it." But like Godot, the fun never arrives. Just more awkward pain and embarrassment. They cut to Book on his home world in a weird filler scene with his brother and nephew communing in the woods, talking about trees and stuff. We're gonna see a lot of woods in this series because shooting in the woods is cheap, and they're all about cheap this season. I'm pretty sure these are all virtual sets using the Mandalorian real-time composite technology, which is even sadder since that means they could whip up all sorts of amazing sets, but nah. We'll just have a forest set and redress it because we can't be bothered to come up with really strange new worlds. The end of the scene in the woods has a bunch of birds flying up and Book looking concerned. Why? Who cares? Meanwhile, the non-binary crew member talks to her dead pal on the bridge of the Disgracery about being on this exciting mission. The non-binary character stammers, talking to Mikey Spock like Tilly used to stammer, like it's funny watching active duty Starfleet personnel who are so awkward they can't effectively communicate. Welcome to the future, folks.
So now they show shots of the stupid space station spinning out of control, the Disgracery flying in sync with it. They cut to this several times as a shorthand for, "They're working on the problem, folks." Then voila, it's fixed. Whew, I was on the edge of my seat on that one.
Yeah, there was no story involved in fixing this oh-so-dramatic problem. They just show up and it's fixed. And the crew on the space station never seem panicked or concerned. Even the distress call is calm. Everyone seems bored. Guess they read the script and knew it was going to get fixed in 3 minutes. But even the cretins writing this trash realize they need something exciting to happen, so immediately upon stopping the space station spinning, they get pelted with frozen methane chunks that appear out of nowhere. They say that the gravimetric anomaly drew the chunks or something, who cares? So the Disco Prize extends its shields around the station, and the USS Pizza Cutter is shorting out and getting set on fire from the strain, and it's all just so incredibly pointless because there is zero story or drama happening in this episode.
Yeah, there's no conflict, no villain. A gravimetric anomaly starts the space station spinning, then they get pelted with rocks. That's basically just trying to fill up some time. The whole thing is pointless, tedious, and infuriating.
Yeah. Never has boredom been so infuriating. So yeah, they make a stab at generating a little conflict with the president of the Federation questioning Mikey Spock's command decisions, but Mikey Spock just gets in the elevator and leaves, and the president just looks at her. Then when you think it can't get any more drab and boring, they cut back to Saru on his home planet, having another pointless conversation with the freak that caused the burn from season 3, trying to make him feel better about causing the burn, but since it's completely irrelevant filler, I won't bother going on about it anymore. But just when you think this can't get any worse, they cut to a scene of Mikey Spock personally out in a shuttle pod, clearing a path for the ship to jump away from the stupid ice storm.
Right. All these little pieces of ice flying around chaotically, but yeah, there's just a few inexplicably static pieces stationary in their way that Mikey Spock has to personally go out and clear with the grappling claws on her pod so that the escape pod from the station can get free and transport the crew to the Disco Prize.
'Cause out of all the crew, Mikey Spock is the bestest ever and the only one who can pull off this silly, pointless, and impractical feat. So she leaves her command post and goes outside in the hazardous ice field to do it personally. Makes you wonder why the rest of the crew is around.
This whole thing is pathetic. Why don't they just use their transporters to beam the people back onto the ship?
No reason. Because the writers wouldn't have an episode then. You can't ask why when it comes to STD, Harvey. Given how unprofitable the show is, how it has destroyed the fandom and driven everyone away, how STD cleared store shelves of Star Trek merchandise costing stockholders who knows how many millions of dollars in ancillary profits, given how low ViacomCBS's stock has dropped, given all those facts, the fact that STD even exists is sheer insanity. Even trying to describe the sad proceedings on this show strains me to the breaking point. You'd have to watch this crap to really grasp how utterly pointless and worthless it is, but I do my best to give you a taste of it at least. So Mikey Spock's pod gets hit by a big ice chunk, which is the best part of the show, because I like bad things happening to Mikey Spock. But she has a magic spacesuit that appears around her and she flies like Iron Man through the field. She's perfectly fine, other than having a smile carved into her wooden face. Anyway, on the station, the captain goes crazy and pulls a phaser on Tilly when she tries to stop him from just launching the escape pod without Mikey Spock finishing clearing the way. But then the president talks him down, Mikey Spock clears the way, and they launch.
Oh my God, how exciting.
Yeah, I know. And then, talk about Mr. Excitement, they cut back to Book's planet to investigate why all the birds freaked out.
Oh my God, this fucking sucks! Who cares?
No one, Harvey. No one. So yeah, Tilly and non-binary and the commander of the station are trying to do something, who knows what. The part of the station that got left behind gets obliterated, the shields drop, and the disgracery jumps just as the pod collides with the shuttlecraft bay. The commander of the space station dies in the crash, so that the crew can finally get a break from smiling. Mikey Spock gets all grim in her cabin, references the Kobayashi Maru. The president comes in and gives her a pep talk that she's still the bestest ever. And Mikey Spock smiles again. But then the president says she's not the bestest ever. And Mikey Spock frowns. That's right, friends. At least the president tells Mikey Spock that having observed her on the mission, she's unstable. She ain't all that. She swings like a pendulum and a wrecking ball, saying she's not really ready for any kind of command promotion. But then Book returns, tells Mikey Spock there's a problem with his planet. They do a magic super long-range scan and show that his planet has blowed up.
It blowed up real good.
The good Lord took a liking to them and blowed them up. Brother, nephew, magic birdies and trees all gone, and then, with tears of joy, I realized the episode was finally over and I didn't have to watch anymore. Honestly, what else can I say? I have no desire to soil myself with this level of suck. In 3 seasons of STD, a season of puke hard, short treks, shit treks, and cartoons, Kurtzman has not produced even one decent scene, not one decent moment, not one memorable line, unless you count lines like, I like science, or this is the power of math people, that are memorable for how fucking god-awful they are. There are plenty of moments memorable for being cringe, but not one single moment that made me feel anything but contempt and disgust. STD is the worst show ever made, a show that seems to even hate itself. At least, they get that right. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.